Well, welcome back into the studio. Today we are going to do another mixed media menagerie. I did not plan this, but I saw Nicole, Laura, and Aaron's spreads on this and had to play along. And really, it was this watercolor resist that lured me, because the warm colors, I am not a huge fan of yellow, although I love burnt sienna, burnt umber, and yellow ochre. I am not a big fan on yellows. So that being said, I'm so excited for this. I was so pumped up. I'm like, oh no, I've got to do this one. So here I am. I've got my warm watercolors, salt, and we need to use a pen, and I haven't chosen one yet, but I will when we get into it. And the theme is sunshine. And so I went through all my fodder, and I pulled out a whole bunch of stuff using the warm colors. So I have jelly prints, I have underpaper. This is a Citrusol print. Geez, I've got lots of different things in here. Underpapers, I think I said that. And this is some gel plate prints on deli paper. So I have this watercolor resist, and I did put it into a fine nibbed bottle, so I have a little bit more control. And I did pull out some acrylics if I were so led to do that. So I am going to use this, it's a signature center spread, and it is a full layout is all watercolor paper. So I just wasn't sure about the watercolor with this cool colored denim, and I wasn't really thrilled about working with the burlap with this either. So I did choose this with intention. So this is not gessoed, because it's watercolor paper and I have watercolors that I'm going to work with. So that was my thinking on it. So let's get started and see where this bad boy takes us today. So I'm pulling out a kitchen tool, a bowl, and a Stabilo all in graphite to just get the circular shape of my sun. And then I'm going to go in and define the rays with this resist. Now I did make an error in how I wanted that to appear, so I come in with a baby wipe and wipe it up, but you'll see I don't do a very good job of wiping that up, because you can really see it in the end piece. But I don't know, it doesn't bother me. So that's where I'm starting, and I do let this, the directions recommend that you let this dry naturally. So I did walk away from it and let it dry naturally. The sound of people talking, the wind blowing in the trees. Oh, I will open up my eyes so I can see the light. Oh, and I'll try to spread my wings so I can fly. So I decided I wanted a real fluid look, so I did pre-spray my page with water, and then I'm coming in with this highly concentrated liquid or tubed watercolors and a number 10 round brush. And I am just gonna do a bit of an ombre here with these three colors. I was originally going to go in with a fourth color, but it just is too pink for me, and didn't care for it. So I am concentrating on these three colors, which is cadmium red pale hue, burnt sienna, and a cadmium yellow hue. And then before that dries, I'm just going to shake on a little bit of salt. And all I could find was some table salt. I wish I would have had some of the real coarse salt that shows up so much better. But unfortunately, we didn't have that. So I did make sure to get that on pretty heavily. And it does give it some, and you can see it more on the final images, but it does give it some really neat texture. Now I have decided that I'm going to go in with some gesso in this circular area of the sun.
I'm gonna let the sun shine in today. I'm trying to make this darkness go away. I'll paint with colors and I'll sing until my lungs give out. I'm gonna let the sun shine in.
So I'm going to get that salt all rubbed off and out of all the little crevices and start to decoupage. Now, this video is sped up, but I did cut out some of the decoupaging once you get a kind of a gist of how I'm going to do that.
Oh, and I'll try to spread my wings so I can fly. Oh, and the darkness starts to fade. Feels like things are gonna go my way. I'm gonna let the sun shine in the day. I'm gonna let the past be filled with smoke. And I will try to fix what has been broken. And take this weight off my shoulders, 'cause I know yesterday ain't coming back. I'm gonna let the past stay in the cold. I will listen to the ocean, let its unsaid words be spoken. And I'll let my mind be carried by the waves. Oh, I will open up my eyes so I can see the light. Oh, and I'll try to spread my wings so I can fly. Oh, and the darkness starts to fade. Feels like things are gonna go my way. I'm gonna let the sun shine in the day. Gonna let the sun shine in today. I'm trying to make this darkness go away. I'll paint with colors and I'll sing until my lungs give out. I'm gonna let the sun shine in today. And I will leave my windows open so that I can hear the sound of talking, the wind blowing in the trees. Oh,
You know, now that I'm looking at this, I wish I would have gone in with the resist within the watercolor area, like the mistake I had made. Maybe a little bit softer than the lines that I had created for the rays of the sun, and that would have really brought out that whole resist product with the watercolor. Oh, you know, hindsight. I highly recommend, however, the product itself, the Watercolor Resist by FolkArt. Pop over to peacecraftlove.com or follow the link I have in my supplies list below.
I'm gonna let the past stay in the cold. I will listen to the ocean, let its unsaid words be spoken, and I'll let my mind be kept.
So now I am going to go in with some acrylic paint, and I'm just going to finger paint in here, and I'm gonna do some similar kind of work, just trying to create that burst. I don't know about you, but here in Arizona we have pretty close contact with the sun and are pretty on a familiar basis with it. So I definitely had an idea of how this area should look, at least from my perspective. And now I'm going to go in with some FolkArt Color Shift acrylic paint in the yellow flash. This is very translucent, but it does give it a very neon metallic kind of feel to it. It really makes a huge difference in this area, I think. And I am going back in, but with watercolor on top of the acrylic. I was wanting to see if I could get some more shadow effect almost with this color to try and get that feeling of round. I really liked how it kind of bled into the other areas, kind of highlighting that resist that was done. So I went and looked for this quote online. And I don't know if you saw, but during the time that I was cleaning my brush, I cleaned it off onto this old sheet rag and created a piece that I could use for my quote.
Open up my eyes so I can see the light. Oh, and I'll try to spread my wings so I can fly. Oh, and the darkness starts to fade. Feels like things are gonna go my way. I'm gonna let the sun shine in the day. I'm gonna let the past be filled with smoke.
Now I nearly forgot that I needed to add pen. So initially I was going to go in with this Faber-Castell pen, but then I changed my mind and I decided to use the Artistro paint pens, and these are those extra fine paint pens, and this is the red and yellow I'm going to use, just accentuating. I'm doing some scratchy kind of mark making around that sun and then blending it slightly with my fingertip.
So